Now, what did we say about obligations? All obligations are the responsibility of the United States. It's their debts. They're responsible for their debts. Why did they take responsibility? Because they took all of our grandfather's gold and silver to pay for the bankruptcy of the United States. Why did they do that? I'll tell you, my grandfather was a geologist in the 1930s, 40s, 50s, all the way till he retired in 1972. He had a very, very long career. His wife died in 54. In 54, he sold his house after his wife died. He bought a Willys Jeep pickup and put a camper on it and traveled all over the state of California doing his geology work, going to all the mining sites and everything. That's what he did for a living. In 1972, he drives up to my dad's ranch, parks it, and says, "This is where I'm going to die, son." That's what he did. And before he did that, he took his little grandson, me, and he taught him all about mining and how to read maps and do all those kinds of things. And when he finally passed away, about 9 or 10 months later, my dad cleaned out his camper and he found more than $400,000 worth of gold. And my dad used it to pay off his ranch in full. Now I'm going to tell you a little bit more about that. When he was much younger, he was an avid gold miner before he became a geologist for the state of California. In fact, his father died in a mine in Colorado in Blackhawk and is buried in Denver. That side of the family had a few generations of miners. Okay? When they confiscated our gold in 1935, I still have original posters from 1935 where it says all gold is to be turned in, and if you don't, it's a $10,000 fine. That was like three bedroom, 2-bath houses. It wasn't any 2-bath houses back then. My grandfather turned in over $1 million in gold when gold was $20 an ounce. You know what that's worth today at $2,000 an ounce? That was my dang inheritance. Now you see the value. Now you know why all these debt notes are an obligation of the United States, and they're the debtor and I'm the creditor. They're in bankruptcy. And they've renewed that bankruptcy many times since then. You understand, right? That is the issue. You are the full faith and credit of the United States government. Every time a baby is born, they're bonded and insured. That's no different than the gold in 1935. Your life, energy, your wages, your future energy became the full faith and credit of the United States, and it backed every United States Treasury bond ever been issued since 1935. You are the creditor. This is why the Federal Reserve notes are debt notes. This is why the Federal Reserve notes are the obligation of the United States. And this is why they give you a remedy to discharge your debt. It's a beautiful thing. You just got to know the law to do it. Stop being the debtor. It's a mentality difference. That's it. Ask me if I got credit cards in my wallet. Absolutely. And they got big limits. And guess what? I don't make the payments. I don't go out and work for money and make the payments. I charge them, I use them up. I sat at lunchtime in the little green room over there eating my lunch. And I went to Wells Fargo and paid $3,300 on a credit card. And I didn't earn the money to pay it. Because I claimed my trust and Wells Fargo fills up my account every month to what I asked for. That's my trust account for my minor estate. And when it drops to a certain limit, they fill it up again. And I wasn't generous with myself. I was the guinea pig in all this. When I truly learned how much my estate was worth, and how, even being a good steward, how much I could take, I went, oh my gosh, I need to go make an amendment. And they want you, we just had a federal judge tell us on people that have gained access to their minor estate, that they want you to come in every 7 years and check the plan. Make sure everything's going as planned. If it's not, adjust your plan. Renew your plan. They want us to come in every 7 years. Nobody ever told me that. They just told us that's what they want us to do. They never told me that. So it's been, I don't know, 14 years since I haven't gone back in to readjust my plan. I got to do that. And I'm going to be a little more generous with myself. I did learn how to kind of fool the system. I know what month they look at my account now to see what the balance is and put it in. And there was a while there where I was making, I still do, I make enough money that if I stick it in that account, there are times when there's more money in the account than my bottom and top level. And there's more money than the top level, so they don't put anything into my account. Now I'm cheating myself. Because I'm earning it instead. So I've learned. Sometimes you got to hit me really hard right here. I used to have a sign on my office door that said, bang your head here. Because my head was always pretty stubborn, right? So I learned. Don't give her the mic. So I learned if I go pull the cash out several times right before the date, it'll be at that bottom level and they'll fill it back up again. Isn't that cool?
Can you pay your cards on your
And then I can use that money to help other people, which I do all the time. Spend $30,000, $40,000 a month helping others. It's fun. People need help. I wish you'd all go get your daughter's estates. That'd be better. But people still need help. And usually the ones I help are really, really, really needing help. It's usually where there's children just got taken. Okay?
You pay your credit cards off, like do your mortgage with a silver?
Huh?
You pay off your credit cards with silver, like your mortgage?
That's not what I'm talking about right here. What I'm talking about right here is estate, right? Okay, that's discharge that you already had that you went out and blew somewhere and something. Okay, I'm not talking about that. The credit cards I use them for convenience, but I don't have to go earn a living to make the payment. I just pay them off 3, 4, 5 times a month sometimes. Every week I look at it. And I ever spend $3,000 or $4,000 a week on credit cards. And I pay them off in full 3, 4, 5 times a month. That's because I loaned the money to Wells Fargo Bank. It's my credit report, not my debit report. Once you've claimed your estate, you have to shift your brain. You've got to shift your brain once you claim your estate. So let's get back to the judge's hats. Jurisdiction of the air, it's your honor. Jurisdiction of land, it's a judge. The jurisdiction of the water, he's a magistrate. It's an administrative court. All courts in the states, except Pennsylvania, has one court. All courts in the states, I should say it this way. I didn't really want to talk about chancery courts, but she brought it up early. There are chancery courts in states too. There are common law courts in states. I am not talking about those. I'm talking about the other type. The ones we all deal with. The ones that all come after us, right? For some reason or another. Okay, now I'm saying that, clarifying that, except for the Supreme Court of Pennsylvania. All the courts in all the states are administrative only. They're all magistrate judges. They can act as an honor, or a judge, or an administrator. That's what I'm teaching you right now. The same judge in the same courtroom on the same day on the same case adjudicates all three jurisdictions. If it's not about property, equity, and rights, he adjudicates the land that fast. He goes right into contract. Now it's all about the contract. Who breached it? That's what it's all about. It's that simple. He's an administrator, he's a magistrate. Sometimes that contract is a traffic ticket. It's some kind of cause of action that you sign your name to it. It's something. There's a contract. It could be because you have a driver's license and you gave it to them. It could be because they own your car. There's some kind of a contract. You got to figure out what that kind of contract is. And you either have to show where they're in breach or dissolve the contract. There's many ways to dissolve the contract. I just passed it here. It's called Rule 60. It's relief from a judgment or order. Rule 60. A. Corrections based on clerical mistakes. That dissolves a contract. Oversights. Omissions. The court may correct a clerical mistake or a mistake arising from oversight or omissions whenever one is found in any judgment, order, or other part of a record. The court may do so on motion or on its own, with or without notice, but after an appeal has been docketed in the appellate court, and while it is pending, such a mistake may be corrected only with the appellate court's leave. Oh no, this is so important. I talked to some of you guys who come to me with cases, and a decision was rendered yesterday. Okay? And you want to say, I want to appeal it, I want to go to the appellate court. An appellate court looks at it to see if the lower court did something wrong. That's it. They don't review your facts. To appeal something in an appellate court, the lower court had to miss a timeline, disregard a rule, something. You appeal things based on those things.
I due process.
Sometimes due process. It is better, and even she knows it's better, to handle it in the court you were in. And I'm going to tell you another thing right now that will help you immensely. You're in court yesterday and the judge wrote an order. And you walk out the door of the courtroom with the order in hand, and you go, crap, I lost. And you go home and whimper. A judge's order isn't good for 30 days. It takes effect 30 days. A treaty takes effect 90 days. On and on and on. There's a time frame to handle the problem. A judge's order could be void on its face, but it's good if it reaches the 30 days without objection or voidance. You have 30 days to void the judge's order even after he's made a decision if his judgment was bad.